Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. My guest today has hit the scene in recent years as one of the freshest and wildest comedians in America. He began performing comedy routines after receiving his degree at the University of the Arts in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he majored in acting and music. From time to time, you can catch his act at the Ice Palace on Fire Island, or if you're ever in New York City, you can catch him every Sunday night at 10 p.m. at the Therapy Lounge. He's also very well known for his hilarious commentary on Tru Tv's World's Dumbest, which airs on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Say hello to the one and only Brad Loekle.
Hi everybody.
Welcome to you. Thank you so much for being here today. I've been so excited about your show because I watch you every Thursday night. We love you around here.
Thank you.
So we got you on the train early this morning. We got you off to an early start. Sorry for waking you.
I'm not used to being up before the crack of noon, so this is a little surreal right now.
Well, we got you a cup of coffee. We got you going here. Good. So tell us, how long have you been living in New York? Because you're originally from upstate New York.
Yeah, I was born and raised in the Catskills, which ended up being very, foreshadowing for the fact that I would go into stand-up comedy, because that was like the birthplace of American comedy. And yeah, I moved to New York City right after college to pursue a career in what I thought I loved, which was theater.
Right.
I wanted to be on the Broadway. And then I actually started working a lot in theater and realized I didn't love it at all.
Really?
Nope, did not like it at all. And then found comedy. But so, yeah, New York, I've been living here since 2000.
Wow.
So a long time.
Yeah,
or really my
years.
whole life. The only other place I ever lived was Philly.
So did you start your career in comedy upstate first and then move to New York, or New York kind of brought you here?
No, it was all theater from the time I was a little tiny baby.
Okay.
From the time, there's even my first grade teacher, where you could write comments, like after the checks and checks pluses and check minuses. Aside from the fact that she would always comment that I always disturbed other students while they were trying to do their work, she said that she could tell by my personality that someday she expected to see my name up in lights, which I thought was a very sweet way of telling my parents that their child was a queer. But yeah, so I was always very kind of performance-driven and theatrical.
Right.
And, but I thought theater was going to be the way, because of drama club and all that. I never really thought about stand-up comedy. I loved it. I watched it all the time. And in retrospect, like, I memorized comedy, like when Comedy Central first started. I remember being a little kid and watching it every day and, memorizing comedians' acts, but not ever thinking I would be a comedian.
Did you ever get to be on that network?
No, not yet. They don't let's just put it this way. They have a lot of homosexuals on their network. They don't have any open homosexuals, so I won't mention
And it's so funny that you
are.
say that, because when I was doing my research on you, like I was on your website, I was Googling. I don't know if you know this, but if you Google yourself, the very last sentence says Brad Loekle is openly homosexual. I thought that was hysterical.
As if anyone couldn't tell, like in case Helen Keller was using Google and was unable to hear me or see me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, people are actually some people still don't actually believe I'm gay. There are some fans of World's Dumbest who will still email me and believe that it's a career move for some reason. They believe like I'm just playing a homosexual on TV, which would be a terrible career move, show business-wise, to try to fake being openly gay. Not to mention just not a particularly smart thing to do. But yeah, no, I'm definitely very gay and always have been.
That's so awesome. I think I am too. Like, some people when I was in school, actually, believe it or not, didn't realize that I was. And it's like, how could you not?
No, everyone in school knew I was gay from a very, very early. I mean, there's literally, my mother has framed in her house a photo of me from a toddler Christmas, I don't know, maybe 5 years old. And
Just as Mrs. Claus?
Right. No, I hadn't started doing drag then yet. That was years later when I could fit into her high heels. But it's literally me in footy pajamas with the happiest face on ever, holding like a play school, those little pop vacuum cleaners. With the
I used to have one of those, the Fisher-Price ones.
And my mother goes, "You would just vacuum?" She goes, "I couldn't wait until you were old enough to use the real vacuum."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, that wasn't like an initial sign.
You know, to my mother it wasn't either, because I had the Fisher-Price. I had the kitchen too. Do you remember the little kitchen?
Of course, of course.
I had everything.
There's a legendary story in my family that my mother tells of my third birthday. My third or fourth birthday. I wanted a My Little Pony really, really bad that I laid on the floor in Toys R Us and cried and refused to move until they got me a Little Pony.
I wanted that doll that walks when you hold its hand. I never got that.
I wasn't a doll like I always want, like, oh, except He-Man. I had a deep, profound crush on He-Man, which set me up later on in years for the porn stars and go-go boys that I've dated. Didn't turn out nearly as well as I thought my relationship with He-Man would go. But the other odd little story of childhood that I feel ended up being very kind of foreshadowing of my homosexuality, my parents, and I didn't know this until very recently, they had to put a latch on the screen door because when I was a toddler, every chance I would get, I would leave the house, strip completely bare naked in the front yard, walk half a block down the street to the VFW that had a cannon in the front yard, climb up on top of it, straddle it naked, and wave to cars as they drove by. And so not much has changed.
I know, because I've seen your Facebook on Fire Island and everything. I've seen some of your performances there.
Some of them were, yeah. A bunch of years ago, on a bet, I performed naked. And so then it
I think I saw that picture, but edited, of course.
Yeah, Facebook doesn't. I've been kicked off Facebook numerous times for posting photos that they find inappropriate, which aren't sexual. I don't think there's anything sexual about me naked, particularly on stage. I just think it's hilarious. But yeah, Facebook had different thoughts. But now, yeah, there's a lot of booze on Fire Island.
There definitely is. We're headed there after here. We're
yeah,
so excited.
There's a lot of booze on Fire Island. And if you give me enough drinks and you dare me to do something. And it kind of started because I had chased the cops naked down the beach earlier that day.
Wait, you chased them?
Yes.
Let's get that straight.
Yes. Yeah. They were actually running from me. They refused to arrest me. I was trying, again, a lot of frozen cosmopolitans had been involved, but I was trying to get the police, particularly Officer Bob, who you'll probably meet later today.
Probably.
Who's like the head cop of Fire Island and like a town legend who knows me very well. I was trying to get him to arrest the Ocean because it had stolen my swimsuit. And so he wouldn't, but he knew if he got too near to me naked, I would inevitably grab him or do something weird. So I started following him down the beach, which turned to me chasing him down the beach, which turned to him getting in his Jeep, which turned to me holding on to the bumper as he slowly drove down the beach. It was a whole show. And then later on that night, we decided we had to recreate it on stage.
That is so funny. But you are like an icon over there on Fire Island. You're doing a show tonight. I mean, tell us about this long history that you have. You know, some
God, I'm old as dirt now. I'm an icon. Yeah, the show that I'll be doing tonight is the Kamikaze Cabaret, and it's a show that I produced and co-hosted for about 5 years.
Yeah, you've done that a long time.
Yeah, every summer, myself and Ariel Sinclair, who's definitely, if I'm an icon, she's...
Oh my God, I saw her show a couple of weeks ago on Fire Island, and she's always fabulous.
Yeah, if I'm an icon, she's the Virgin Mary. And... But yeah, we've been performing together. That was kind of my first big gay comedy gig, and where I really cut my teeth as a comedian was going out there every Thursday for years, for season after season, doing the shows out there, and that's where I really kind of learned to be a comedian. And that show is actually what trained me for getting the show at Therapy. Which then became my weekly mainstay, and it was at that show that I got discovered by a producer to be on World's Dumbest.
Oh, that's so awesome, because I was going to ask, how did you land such a role on...
Yeah, I just doing comedy in the clubs for years and years and years. I'd probably been doing comedy 5 or 6 years at the time. And a gentleman named Eric Newhouse, who was a producer at Tru Tv, not actually at the production company who makes the show, but at our network, who's a gay guy.
Of course,
lived in that neighborhood. So he used to just come to that show a lot because he thought I was fun, and he liked, the guests that were on the show and that sort of thing. And it was just convenient. He could have a Sunday night cocktail, be home in bed by 11:15.
I would love to see your show one day.
Yeah, it's a really fun show. I really try to make it a real fun kind of Sunday night party and a real nice kind of cap to people's weekends.
Right. What's some of the material that you do? Like, what is your specialty, or what do you target?
Dirty. I'm extremely dirty.
I don't think I would expect anything less from you.
Yeah, I'm definitely not made for, prime time. I will definitely never be the host of a children's show. Let's just put it.
No Disney Channel for you.
No, I will not. I will not be the next iCarly or Hannah Montana. It's definitely not going to happen.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I do a lot of. I definitely like to push boundaries. So I definitely do a lot of sex stuff. just because people are still so hung up on sex.
But it's so
and
funny,
I think
though.
Sex is hilarious and
Of
stupid. And I also try to break down I try to make fun of every group because I feel we've gotten very politically correct as a society. And I think we need to get back to not pretending like there aren't hilarious differences between all of us.
Right.
Be it gays or straights or blacks or whites or old people or young people or Puerto Ricans or trannies or whatever. And like, you know, Jews, Christians. Like, we should actually just enjoy the differences. There's a difference between having fun and making fun of each other and hating people. And I think we've gotten to a point where, like, we're so scared to talk about anything with anybody that it actually becomes, people are actually become quite kind of repressed and segregated in an attempt to not offend anyone.
So how do you come up with your routines? I mean, like I said, I have a teleprompter that pretty much tells me what to do. So I can't imagine being up in a club for like 2 or 3 hours and having to memorize an entire routine. How do you get your material?
I mean, the funny thing is, I'm coming from a theatrical background. I mean, I guess I've always been good at learning lines and lyrics and stuff like that. But stand-up definitely feels very different to me in the fact that I haven't memorized the act. I mean, if it's a joke I've been doing for months or years in many cases, I certainly could do it, you know, I could go on autopilot and just say it and throw it out there. But it's kind of different every time. You feed off the audience. I do a lot of crowd work, especially in a weekly show.
So would you pick somebody in the crowd and just start going to town
just lots
on
of having fun. And I work with the whole crowd. I immediately find out where everybody is in the room as far as what they are. So like, I'll immediately ask where all the straight people are, where all the gay men are, where all the tops are, where all the bottoms are, where the lesbians, where the Puerto Ricans, you know, where the Jews, and because it also then everyone has made a little noise. Everyone in the room kind of feels like we're all talking to each other. Yeah, and I don't go after people. I mean, like a heckler, I'll ruin your life and make you go home and kill yourself, but you asked for that. But I don't like the idea of like going after someone in the audience, like making fun of them. Right. Like I more just find where everybody is and play with them. Okay. You know what I mean? Like and try to make it really
Sounds
positive.
Like a lot of fun.
And I try to make them feel like they're part of the show in that way, as opposed to being the butt of a joke. They're like in on the joke.
Awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It really does. I'd love to see you one day.
I have a lot of fun.
Do you have a lot of special guests that come on and do the show with you?
Yeah, therapy, sure. I have guest comedians every single week, and I try to feature a lot of new and up-and-coming people, but then I always have a headliner each night who's in from out of town, or, you know, we have some regular headliners and stuff, and, you know, Judy Gold's been there.
Oh, actually, I was often wondering about her. Every time I go into Facebook, you're always in my news feed. It's always got something about Fire Island or what you're doing or something. So I'm like, how come Judy never goes to Fire Island?
Oh, well, Judy has kids, first of all. She's a divorced / single mother, and she's got one teenage boy, one adolescent boy. So that's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So she doesn't really like to go on the road anymore unless it's a lot of money. And for gay comics, the road, as a general rule, is not a lot of money, like consistently.
Yeah.
Because gay comedians don't play mainstream clubs when we go on the road. Like, we're usually either playing gay clubs or special events like pride events, you know, or charity events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, and she spent a good chunk of her life on the road. I mean, you have to remember Judy's a lot older than me.
She'll love that comment.
Significantly older than me.
In case you guys don't know, if you haven't seen the show, Judy's actually one of the commentaries on Tru TV as well.
And we've known each other a long time. We knew each other before World's Dumbest. Because it's a very small world when it comes to gay comedy. There's like,
it seems like it is.
There's like 15 of us working professionally in the nation, and we all know each other. And we all constantly run into each other. So yeah, Judy doesn't spend as much time on the road, but I mean, you know, she's a woman approaching 50, and
she'll love this show. I hope you don't show it to her, because I'd love for her to come on the show. Judy had nothing to do with this.
Oh, now she'll come on just to get back at me. Please, I look older than her, so she's winning.
She's so cute too. Like, no, I think I love the both of you the most. I mean, I love the entire show.
We have a lot of fun. We definitely have a lot of chemistry together, and it comes from having known each other a long time, and I think the audience responds to the fact
Yeah.
that we can go really far with each other, you know, because we've known each other a long time.
Yeah, so it makes it, because I remember watching the show one time, and there was a clip of you and her in bed, but it was part of the show, like you were watching the videos or something.
That. We actually have to do that again really soon. The network really liked that. Apparently
so
people
funny.
loved the idea of us as a married couple, which is very 1950s.
It's so awesome.
We probably would have been married if we were both in show business in the 1950s. I would have been her Rock Hudson. She would have been my secretary.
There you go. So what do you think about working with your other castmates? I mean, Mike Trainor's also on the show. But is he also in New York? Because from what I understand, some of you are on the East Coast, some of you are on the West Coast, and they just kind of fuse the show together.
Yeah, the show's entirely shot on green screen, so basically the same technology that you make like Lord of the Rings by, but much lower rent. But basically same principle. You film on a giant green screen, and then we get superimposed. Our backdrops are all done digitally, and so that's how they can put us in the clips and put us anywhere.
So it's not that exciting as it goes on, because it's very exciting on TV. I love it, but it's not that exciting when you're actually taping.
Yeah, no. Making a show like that it's a very, especially for when comedians are new to it. I mean, that was my first experience with it, was World's Dumbest, and there was definitely a learning curve. Because you're sitting in a room and no one's allowed to make any noise. There's hardly anyone in the room. There's you know, a director of photography, a sound guy, a makeup artist, a couple producers. That's it.
Oh, sounds like our staff.
Yeah, it's a very simple thing to shoot. But so there's no live audience. And even if everybody wants to laugh, they can't. So if they do laugh, you have to do another take of it because it screws up the sound.
Do you know how many times I've messed up on the show? I mean, I premiered back in April, and if it wasn't for my little teleprompter there, I mean, it would take like 5 takes to get the show off the ground. This would be a 3-hour, half-hour show, let me tell you.
But yeah, no, it's very. I mean, if you hear a door close constantly, they'll be like, "Do that one again," and then do that one again. So it's very odd as a comedian when you come from a world where you judge the success of your joke by how much laughter you get and how immediate the laughter is and how kind of intense the laughter is, to be in a room where you're told, like, just so you know, no one's gonna laugh at you no matter what the fuck you do.
So it's gotta be like awkward.
Right, yeah. It's very awkward at first, and then you just get used to it. What I like about it now, because now we've filmed almost 200 episodes, and so that's a lot of, you know,
you've been on for a couple of years too, since what, 2009 or so?
Yeah, I've been on. I think there's something like 6 episodes in existence that I'm not on, which they'll still occasionally air in a marathon, and then like fans will go insane online and be like, "What happened to Brad?" And I'm like, "Everyone, relax. If you hadn't noticed,
check the copyright date.
If you hadn't noticed by the quality of the footage and the fact it's not in HD, that episode is very old.
It's a little older.
But now what I like is we can tape very fast. So like I'll usually tape 2 episodes at a time. And so I like to kind of do it within 2 hours, really nice and tight, and get in it and just kind of run. But yeah, it's not a fun process, particularly when you see me, because I do a lot of like, I'll be in a costume or I'll be in my underwear.
Yes, oh my God, you've been naked too. I
have been entirely naked on that show as well. I seem to be making a career out of being nude, which is rather ironic. So see, you don't get, gay men of America, you don't have to have 6-pack abs and a perfect body. You just have to have absolutely no dignity or self-respect whatsoever. And you can make a full-time living being naked. But yeah, no, things like that take a very long time. It takes a very long time to set up like camera shots.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's got to be a long process.
So it is a very kind of, it's the exact opposite of what stand-up comedy normally is, which is being in a room full of, you know, when I'm at therapy. You're right. Like, you know, I mean, at Fire Island or on the road or at therapy, I'll have hundreds of people in the room. On the cruise ship, you'll have thousands of people in the room. Upwards of 1,000 people in the room. And so it's this big, high-energy live, and then you go into a TV room, and you're like, you have to film it that way, but you're in this tiny little world.
Our studio is kind of the same way. Like, it looks huge at home to everybody, but when you get here, it's only like there.
And this, I can tip for anyone at home, this room is larger than the room we filmed World's Dumbest in.
Huh. Hand for the Jason Galka show on that
one. This size doesn't matter.
You're too much. So actually, you also do your comedy routines on cruise ships as well. You're going to be touring with Atlantis Events.
Yes, I do. I've never performed on a heterosexual cruise. No offense, straight people, but
it's just not as fun.
I couldn't imagine a fate worse than death than being on a ship full of 2,500 old Jewish women. Just the restaurant orders alone must be exhausting. But no, I do with I've been with Atlantis for 2 years. This will be my 11th event with them.
Nice.
So I've spent a lot of time with them traveling. I've been on 4 continents, something like 25 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been intense. And so for those viewers who are unaware of what Atlantis is, because it is a very little niche company, they are a travel group that books out chartered cruise ships and charters resorts in foreign countries for all gay vacations. So
okay.
It'll be,
so it's all gay
so
cruise
yeah,
line.
it'll be like a Celebrity cruise ship or a Holland cruise ship or a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, but in the way that sometimes companies do this or charities do this or organizations, there'll be cruises for, there'll be entire Mary Kay cruises.
Oh, that's awesome.
Avon, companies do
everything
it for
I'm a fan of.
Yeah, Oprah legendarily chartered
really?
a cruise during her farewell season for all her staff, and they got in trouble because there was video footage of them all having sex with each other, which again sounds horrifying if you've seen her staff. Most of them are protected by PETA, though, I'm sure. So our ships we just charter the ship and we go around the world. And so the great thing for me is, as one of the headliners, is I go on the ship, I get to socialize with everyone, I get to travel the world, and I have to do one show in like a beautiful theater. The ships
yeah,
on
they
cruise
really
ships
are
like
nice.
Broadway theaters.
Because I went on a couple years ago, and it was like the best time of my life. I'd rather be on a cruise than fly, honestly.
Oh yeah.
I think there's so much fun.
Oh yeah, no, I would definitely rather be on a cruise ship than fly, just because if there was a pool on a plane, and a balcony, although that could be tricky. But no, the ships are wonderful, and so I'm actually about to leave on Monday. On Monday, I'll film a new episode of World's Dumbest in the morning, and then get on a plane to Copenhagen.
Nice.
And then tour the Baltic with Atlantis for the Baltic cruise. And we're going to Russia, so we're all probably
nice.
Gonna be
You're gonna be excited.
This may be the last time I've ever seen on film.
Have you been there before? Where's some other places you've been to?
No, this will be my first and probably only time to Russia, because they just passed a law making homosexuality illegal. So. Good luck to our ship. We're all looking forward to it. No, but I've been all over Europe. I've been to Ireland. Ireland, England, Spain, Greece, Istanbul, Israel, Tunisia, Morocco, all over France, all over
wow.
Italy.
So you've been traveling.
Yeah, no, I've spent a lot. I fly about 50,000 miles a year.
Wow. Hope you have frequent flyer miles.
Oh, I do. Oh, I do.
So coming up with the new World's Dumbest is coming up on Monday that you're taping. What's that one about? Because there's like so many. There's like what, 20 of the world's worst drivers, and then...
Oh yeah, we have dumbest drivers, dumbest criminals, dumbest hillbillies, smartest inventions.
Yes. Oh, I remember watching that show one time. You and Mike Trainer were on stage to try out this product that was like clothes in a can. Do you remember it?
Oh, I do. Oh, this is a great story. Okay, so
and they invited the guy on, right? The guy was there that invented it.
So here's the thing. This was also the day I knew it was time for me to ask for a raise from the producers. That stupid thing, which was basically silly string, was invented by this guy in Italy. So they flew him. The only way he would agree to let them use it on air, because we said, can you send us some of the cans and we'll put up the website? Right. He's like, no, 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 I want to come there because I should be the one to apply it. So they flew this little SOB from Rome to New York to do what amounted to 30 seconds of television. He was the creepiest
He
person.
was, from what I remember looking at him.
I mean, creepy. And I am part Italian, and I've spent a lot of time in Italy. And there's creepy, and then there's Italian creepy, and then there was this guy. It was. And then he just kept commenting about me and Mike Trainer, the fact that he was having to do this to men, as if it was some kind of weird homosexual American sex act.
He looked like he was there to, like, promote it, and he was like all into it and excited.
He's like, I'm used to putting this on, beautiful women, not, fat men. And the best is our makeup artist, Christopher Fulton, is another gay man who knows me very well. And he literally, it was kind of like when Sophia in Color Purple says hell no.
Yes.
And like the air goes out of the room because everybody knows someone's about to get beat. Because he literally, and I was like, did this just, I'm gonna kill, no, we're gonna light some shit on fire now. And I looked at him and I was like, you know what? I was like, right, but you have to pay those women, don't you? I don't know what they call it there, but we call them whores. Here, I've seen the video footage. They're whores. And it was just, it felt really weird. It was freezing cold. It was like having dry ice.
Yeah, I can imagine what it was. Oh, gosh.
And not in a fun way. It was.
Not in the way that we're used to.
Right. Not in like a fun, there's a safety word and a harness. It was, oh, that was one of the stranger days on the show. That was definitely one of the ones where I don't really...
I thought it was hysterical, though, because I saw your reaction. You were like, are you calling me fat? And it was like the way that you said it, I was rolling on the floor.
I mean, based on the kind of people we use in our footage, most of them aren't people you want to meet.
I've seen the show, yes.
It's not. I mean, it's definitely... I mean, if you ever wanted to challenge the theory of evolution... I think instead of using the Bible, you could probably just use the clips on our show. I'd be like, really? Evolution?
Oh, my gosh. Do you remember the one? I don't remember what the topic of it was, but there was a guy that was naked, and he was attached to, like, a bike or something. It was overseas. It was definitely in another country. And he scraped his butt cheeks along the pavement. Judy Gold made an excellent comment. She's like, even the dog knows to use the rug on this. Do you remember that one? That was another good one.
That clip, first of all, we've had, as you were describing it, I'm like, okay, that narrows it down to 1,000 clips, that narrows it down to 500 clips, that narrows it down to 150 clips, but it's still somewhere within 100. Like, there's a lot. It's amazing how many people will do the same stupid thing, even though we all know someone's done it before.
And I'm sure they've all seen the show.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, we can't use that footage without them signing off on it and I mean, getting paid for it. So they know America is about to know that they're a complete and utter moron. But to some extent, that's the American way now, is to just be like, look at me, I'm a Kardashian.
What is your favorite topic on World's Dumbest? What's like your favorite category, I should
do
say?
love the invention shows. They're very hard for us to produce because a lot of inventions won't let us use them because they, you know, they don't want to be made fun of, even though a lot of these inventions have never seen the light of day, and we're giving them more press than they've ever had.
Do you remember the dog poop game that was on there?
Oh, God, yes, because that was creepy. I like the inventions, too, because most of them, we just did a new inventions recently that hasn't aired yet, and there was, trust me, there was a whole slew of just ridiculous stuff. And it always seems to be, we always get vagina-related products. Which
I've noticed that.
Always fun for me because they're horrifying. We had a new one. We had a new product. I don't remember the name, thank God, so I won't pitch it. But it basically is supposed to replace all feminine hygiene products. It's
really?
And it's reusable and washable in your dishwasher. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
Number one, why would you want to reuse it?
And the women in the room are like, WTF? Yeah.
I'm looking around; they're all horrified.
Yeah. And it's just so that stuff I love because it's so ridiculously outrageous. And I love performers when we do Dumbest Performers.
Yes, that's another favorite one. That and the partiers.
Yeah, making fun of someone who thinks they can sing or a good bad dance number, like,
You should grab a camera and go to Fire Island. You could probably grab some of your
I know. See, the problem is I always have wanted to film stuff on Fire Island, but then I get too intoxicated, and then I should probably be the one being filmed, and that's not going to happen.
It's so funny. Well, I think we're doing pretty well on time, right? Do you want to do a little stand-up for us here on the set?
You want me to tell you a couple stories?
Please do. Here, we got a mic all set for you.
Fabulous. We'll switch this one over here. Right.
Brad's going to do his thing. Do you want to stand? Do you want to sit?
What do you guys want me to do? You want me to stand? You want me to sit?
Yeah, make it like a club. Here, we'll make room for you. We have room here.
What do you, again,
slide this out of the way.
How fat am I? This is how it starts, people.
Here we go. Brad Loekle in action.
Hey, everybody. Wow. Wow. Well, since we talked about this before, about where I grew up, I actually do probably have an unusual upbringing for homosexual, and people are always shocked because I am such a gay man. I was actually raised a total and complete redneck. My father is a truck driver who owns a Harley Davidson, plays drums in a rock band, and used to sell loose joints out of our basement. Which makes finding a Father's Day card fun. And now this is not the man you want to walk up to at 14 years old and be like, hey, Dad, guess what? I'm a lady. So I figured the best way to do it was, you know, everybody takes news better when they're drunk. You know, give them a cocktail, they take some bad news, good. So one morning at breakfast, I went up to him, and I said, hey, Dad, guess what? I'm a lady. And he got totally freaked out. Color drained from his face. He looked me straight in the eye, and he was like, oh, great, so what you're telling me is for the rest of your life you're going to run around partying and drinking, doing drugs, sleeping with strangers every night. You're never going to get settled down. You're never going to get married, and you're never going to have kids. Damn, boy, you are living my dream. I wish I was you right now. In fact, a guy doing another guy's like driving a car with 2 gas pedals and no brakes. Just yeah, 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 all the time. True story. I think he's actually a little too okay with my homosexuality. Point in case. From a 30th birthday a couple years ago, we decided to go out drinking. So we get pulled over by the cops at about 3 o'clock in the morning in upstate New York. In fairness, we were driving half naked in a golf cart with no headlights. It doesn't matter how we got in a golf cart half naked with no headlights at 3 o'clock in the morning on a dirt road. But I believe the German word for it is Jägermeister. So as the cop is approaching the cart, my father leans over to me, all serious, and goes, "Hey, ain't there something you could do to get us out of this?" Yeah. Lacking a daughter, my father was willing to whore out his son to a cop to get out of a ticket. I have never been so proud in my entire life. And we did not get a ticket. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Brad Loekle. Fabulous job. Oh, I had so much fun. My face hurts from laughing so hard. Be sure to tune into World's Dumbest every Thursday night at 9 p.m. on Tru TV. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.